Jason, welcome back to the show, man.
Man, thanks for having me. Good to see you again.
Absolutely. And we were talking off the air. You're looking a lot skinnier than the last time I saw you.
Yeah, a little bit skinnier than I was the last time. I'm around
Huh.
203 now, so I've been working at it. So I'm excited about the hunting trips out west and my tongue not hanging out anymore. So we'll see.
I mean, I never stop working out, but there are times when I do less cardio than others. I'm playing basketball like 3 times a week for my cardio, uh,
Right,
but I haven't really been doing like the Stairmaster. Or I know you've lost a lot of weight from just getting
yeah,
outside and rucking.
right,
Um,
right.
you've put a lot of miles on the boots because
Oh
it's
yeah.
time to start doing that because basketball and well, it's still great cardio, and I come out looking like a sweaty pig after it every
See,
time. It's a lot different than
uh,
walking 8 to 10 miles.
yeah. The basketball doesn't hurt your back like the soccer does. The kicking
No,
from the soccer, yeah, the
yeah,
basketball doesn't
dude,
hurt.
it's just striking the soccer ball is just
Yeah, yeah.
my hip flexors. I had those 3 hernias repaired spring of 2024, and I went back to trying to play soccer, and I was just like, I thought the
Yeah.
hernias didn't. I thought they failed. I went back to the doctor, got an MRI, got a CT scan, all that stuff, and and first X-ray, and then he was like, "No, the X-ray looks fine." Then finally, he went, "Well, let's just keep going through the process." And he's like, "Dude, they're fine. It's
Right.
something else." And then,
Something else.
yeah, you're good to go. Yeah, he did say. He said, "I think the most important question I asked him was, how long before I can have sex after I have these
Pretty
hernias
important
taken
question.
care
Pretty
of?"
important question.
And
Yeah.
he was like, "You need to wait at least 2 weeks."
Oh,
I made it 5 days.
okay. All right. The man is a quick healer.
And then when they started hurting when I went back to soccer, I was
Yeah.
like, I bet that's what. And then
Yeah.
like I should have
Probably.
listened to him, but no, they were fine. So I don't know, dude. You get old and stuff just doesn't work. And my hip flexors and like basically if you put a tire around my midsection, it just always feels inflamed.
Right.
I think it stems from the wonky L4 and L5 I've had for the last
Yeah.
15 years. So still going to
Well,
the chiropractor.
yeah. Hopefully, I'll get you some good news on that, and we can get that worked on too. So work on your
Yeah.
back. It made a big difference for me. So
And you're talking about stem cell
yeah, the stem cells in
therapy.
Colombia, the bio accelerator place Rogan talks about all the time.
And you have to
So
go to
amazing.
Colombia to do this.
Yeah. It's worth it. It's worth the trip, dude. They regrew my shoulders, they regrew my knees. I'm not going to have knee replacements. I'm a
And so
half an
how
inch
does that
tall.
work? You go there and you just do this one time, or do you have to keep going back?
So
Or
so you go and you're basically there for a week, and what it regrows, you got to tear it up again, right? It took me decades to tear it up before, so once it regrows it and fix it, you have to tear it up again. Now, I
hmm.
did have to go back a second time because the one meniscus tear only regrew about 2/3 of the way, and I went back and got it retreated and did a bunch of preventative stuff. But I'm a half an inch taller now than I was 2 years ago. Not a
Oh
half an
wow.
inch taller than I ever was, but I'm back to my initial height because the compaction that was in my disc and my back, they're back to normal. So it's life changing. I mean, I ruck 10, 12 miles a day. I couldn't do that before.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's very cost prohibitive though.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
very
Insurance
expensive.
insurance isn't going to help you,
Yeah.
but when it you don't know how much you're in pain until you're not in pain anymore, right?
Yeah.
And honestly and truly, the saying "health is wealth," dude. I spend every dime I have to feel the way I do today. So
Uh-huh.
compared to the way I was before.
Yeah. Yeah. Why can't we get this in our country?
So you can get stem cells in the US. You can get stem cells, but you cannot get it the way you do outside of the US. So the federal government was afraid of fetal stem cells, and they put this blanket, big, broad brush federal government approach, and they prohibited the culturing of cells in the
Oh,
United
big
States.
government. Imagine that.
Big government, imagine that. So any of the stem cells you receive here in the United States are grown somewhere outside of the United States. It's illegal for them to be grown here in the US.
Hmm.
So in Medellin, I get 370 million in a week's time, and here they give you like 20,000 a month. They give you just enough to help with the inflammation and the pain, but they don't give you enough to actually regrow and rebuild stuff. So
Hmm.
if you Medellin, Colombia, the place in Panama, they're the two best places in the world. You can go get nickel and dime $3,000, $5,000 a time here in the U.S. going every month, or go over there one time and spend $40,000 and be fixed.
Hmm. Health is wealth. 40,000
Health,
is a lot of
health
money,
is
but
wealth.
geez, yeah.
Compared to pain and not being able to walk, not being able to hunt, not being able to do the things. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, think about where I am today and where I'll be when I'm 70. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
live to 90 if I'm drinking through a straw and can't walk around and somebody's wiping my butt. But if you can get
Yeah.
around and you're healthy, heck yeah, sign me up.
And you told me you weighed like 260 at your heaviest, and you're down to 203 now.
203, yeah.
You weren't
But I
260 when you were in here. Like that was
no,
probably
I
a
was probably
year ago.
yeah, I was probably 230ish,
Okay.
225, 230ish then.
Uh-huh.
But I physically could not do what I do today.
Yeah.
I could not exercise the way I do today. I could not lift weights. I couldn't do pull-ups. I couldn't do the rucky. A mile walk would just kill my knees. It'd be terrible.
Mm-hmm. I really got into lifting weights once I started having kids, which might seem weird, or once they were old enough for me to, because the gyms had daycares. I was like,
Right.
well, this is something I can do. Before that, I just ran, and I weighed like,
Right.
I think 178 when I went on my first elk hunt, and I weigh
Right.
215 now. I'd like to get down to like 205,
Yeah.
but you have to give up things, and I
Yeah.
like beer, so
I love beer, and that might be the hardest thing. So I do not have the occasional beer anymore like I used to. I still drink, I'll
the
still
occasional
drink
six
along and
pack, you
along.
mean?
Yeah, yeah, that nightly six pack. I don't have that anymore. I will have the beer at the Mexican restaurant, but when I get to where I want to be and I'm just maintaining, I think I'll probably get back to a little more beer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, good work, man. That's awesome. Um, let's talk about what we're really going to get into today.
Yeah,
Is bow hunting.
it's that time
You're
of year, man. Yeah,
passionate bow hunter. Yeah. You're in Georgia?
we're in
Uh,
Georgia, so the season is a few weeks away now. It's
when is
not
your
long at all.
opener?
For less than a month. It's the third weekend in September. The
Okay.
first weekend is like the first is on a Monday or something. So then
Mm-hmm.
the weekend following dove season, and I'll be in Oregon the 28th, Roosevelt hunting. So I've never hunted a Roosevelt before,
Yeah.
and so their season comes in the end of August, September. So that'll be
Uh-huh.
the first trip that I take if I don't go to South Carolina this weekend.
Right. Okay. Um, that's cool. I've never hunted Roosevelts either. You can hunt them places like Oregon. But when I was black bear hunting in on Vancouver Island in British Columbia, I saw the biggest elk I've ever seen. Like just it had to weigh over 1,000 pounds. There's no doubt, and it was eating the flowers in the lot at the lodge we were staying at. I mean, it was like
Right.
right. I was like walked up to it like 10 feet away. Didn't care, but easily 1,000 pounds, much bigger than a Rocky. But they're on Vancouver Island. Their tags were like 30 grand or 40 grand or something.
Ow.
Yeah.
Ow. So they have some over the counter archery tags in Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
and they have some decent public land hunting, and we've got some private land. So I don't know if you know Taryn, but one of her friends has got some private land. So
Mm.
fortunately, I don't think I'll have to be battling everyone. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of bulls right now, or there was this past weekend when they were there. So keep your fingers
Cool.
crossed.
Heck yeah. Yeah, our bow season opens up on the 28th of September. So it's always the Saturday, whatever Saturday is the closest to October 1st.
Right.
Sometimes September, sometimes October. It's so damn hot though. I don't really enjoy it until late October. So
Right.
we'll see. If I have something on camera, I'm gonna sweat my ass off and try to get it. But
They're in the
I'm not gonna
bachelor
go
herd.
sit
Yeah.
in the hot
Yeah.
for no reason. You can
Yeah.
People want to say you can't kill them from the couch. That's true, but
Yeah.
you can also be pretty damn miserable sitting in a pop up or a tree stand when it's literally 100 degrees outside.
Yeah. So we got a little reprieve last week. The weather was in the mid 70s. It had been brutally hot here. I'm sure to be hot by the time dove season and bow season comes
Mm-hmm.
in. But I'm like you. I don't like it when it's super early. I'll only go in the mornings when it's kind of cool. But right now they're in the bachelor herds, 7 or 8 bucks
Oh yeah,
together. So they're fun to watch right now.
yeah, yeah. My cameras are picking up a lot of nice bucks on a new place I got in Vernon. Childress, the other place I got, nothing there so far that really piques my interest, but it's a big place. They'll come. We'll find them. Um, You've got some tips, and you told me you used to have these on YouTube or something. They got taken down.
Well, I can't. I deleted the channel. That's like 12 years
Oh,
ago. It had about 300,000 views on it, and
okay.
I put them up, and they've been published. And they're tips for the beginning and intermediate bow hunter. And
Hmm.
some experts can pull some tips there, but there's a lot of stuff that people, simple mistakes that people make, that if they just fix those, the percentage of animals that they lose will go way, way down,
Uh-huh.
way
Well,
down.
okay. Well, let's go through some of those. To start with, how long have you been bow hunting?
Decades. We're coming
Okay.
up on 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, and let's go ahead and piss everybody off by just getting it out there. What kind of bow do you
Oh,
shoot?
oh my God. So let me start with saying today there's a lot of great bows. It did not used to be that way. That was not the case. I mean, you've got Matthews and Hoyt and Obsession and Elite. Like there's a world of amazing
What
bows
was the
today.
first bow you ever owned?
PSE,
Okay.
PSE.
Mine was
Back then,
mine was
yeah,
a Matthews Mission, and that was just because that's all I could afford. It was like
yeah,
this was like 17, 18 years ago. It was $400, and I was like,
yeah,
my wife's looking at me like, $400 for a bow?
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, babe, I haven't even gotten the accessories yet. It's gonna get worse.
yeah.
But 400 was
So
cheap.
So when I started, you had PSE, you had Bear, Browning made a wooden compound bow. Like there was not a lot of choices. Like
Uh,
214 feet a second, man, that was fast. That
yeah.
was super fast. So it was terrible. But with that being said, today there's a lot of great bows. I became a Matthews guy over a decade ago, and they are literally, no offense to the Hoyt people or whatever, they are a gold standard. Like Matthews is absolutely amazing. And this year,
We
I
just
got a
lost
new
half
look.
our listeners.
Hold on, it gets worse. I'm about to make it even worse here, right? So this year, I sold a bow. I gave away a bow to my nephew, so I didn't have a bow at all, and I bought a new lift, and it's freaking amazing, like absolutely great bow. And then Greg with Halo Waterfowl and Laura's been on your show. They were
Uh-huh.
talking about Obsession and how great Obsession was, and they're a little bit less. They're not as expensive as Matthews. I'm like, well, I'll get a second bow. I'll get a backup bow, dude. The damn Obsession outshoots my Matthews. It
Huh.
is fast. It's faster. It's more accurate. It's amazing. It's cheap. And I even went to the bow shop and I'm like, dude, Corey, what is wrong? Because like, is the draw length different? Is the sights are the same? The rest, like, what's going on here? I am shooting tighter, better groups with the Obsession than I am with the Matthews. And he's like, dude, it's you shoot that bow better. It's just the bow. And the next bow that I buy, and this is very hard for me to say, will be an Obsession if things stay the way they are now. And with that being
Wow.
said, I absolutely love my lift. It is an amazing boat. 99% of America would be happy to shoot as well
Hmm.
as I shoot with that. But the Obsession absolutely outshoots it. They're veteran owned, American made. You can tune it yourself with an Allen wrench. You don't have to take it to the shop. You can pimp my ride. Any colors you want on them, you can get that. But they've got a lot of stuff that's unique. And I mean, hey, when you're challenging Matthews, which I believe is kind of the gold standard with bows, that says a lot. But yeah, great company, great
Yeah.
bow anyway. Yeah,
Do you
customer
think
service.
do you think one of the biggest obstacles for folks trying to get into bow hunting is finding the right bow and then setting it up? Because it's
Absolutely,
it's it's intimidating.
it's very
I
intimidating.
don't tune my
And
own bow. I have a buddy
I'm
that
not a
helps
geek.
me do
Yeah,
it.
absolutely, absolutely. And that's the thing about the Obsession. It's got an Allen screw up top, and
Hmm.
depending which way the tear goes, you just turn the Allen screw toward the tear. You don't have to take it to a bow tech or whatever. I normally take all my stuff to the tech. I shoot them. I'm very good at shooting them. Let the expert set them up. But it is intimidating. I mean, you don't just go to Bass Pro and buy a bow and go home and set it up yourself. And you need a
I
bow
would say
press.
it's much easier to put slap a scope on a rifle and sight it in.
1,000%,
Yeah,
1,000% easier.
yeah. Um, okay, well that's cool. Um, Obsession. I've only ever shot that Matthews Mission, and then I started working with Elite,
They
and
make great bows. Elite bows are good.
I think I've gone through about 10 of those things.
Yeah,
So I've been happy with them,
yeah.
and I've managed to miss or wound 3 or 4 elk with them, which wasn't the bow's fault, you know.
Yeah, user
I've killed
error.
some too, but
User error.
yeah. Um, so as far as some tips, as people are trying to get into the game here when it comes to archery, and I recommend that you do. And here's why: you get to. I said I don't like to go out in late September, early October. I will if something catches my eye on camera. Um, but you get to hunt for another month.
Right.
And then archery elk is as good as it gets. There is nothing better, in
Nothing
my
better.
opinion, in the rut.
Yeah.
Like, so I definitely recommend that somebody, if they're casually, even a little bit interested in the sport, you can get a used bow. You don't want to spend
Right.
bows now or not. You're going to spend well over $1,000, but you
Right.
could get a fully set up one, with your draw length, and hey, try it out for a season. Probably spend.
Yeah.
I think, and I know this because I've sold all my old elites. I've sold them on what's the archery talk, I think.
Right.
And everywhere from $400 or $500 to $700 or $800. So
Fred Bear said bow hunting for a week will teach you more than you'll learn in a lifetime gun hunting. And if you bow hunt, it will make you a better gun hunter. It will force you to scout. It will force you to do things that you don't necessarily do when you're gun hunting. And you will learn to deal with the wind, and you'll learn how to dominate the wind, or you will not be successful as a bow hunter. You can get away with sitting in a tower stand on a clear cut with a rifle shooting stuff at 300 or 400 yards sometimes. You will not get away with that bow hunting. So
sometimes you can't even control it. And going back to elk hunting, like those thermals swirl in the mountains, and you can do everything right, and it does not matter.
It's not good. It's not good.
I know this from many experiences of there's a bull that's been bugling, talking back to me, and then all I see is his ass running away.
Yeah.
And then I take my little wind checker, and I'm like, well, I was good. Now I'm screwed.
Yeah.
It happens to everybody.
And you got to figure out what time he's going to be where before the wind changes 180 degrees. And I've actually been in a place where with your wind checker, the wind's going the right way, but then it's going behind you and it's swirling and coming back up over you to where they're at. So, I mean, it can be aggravating elk hunting. So,
yeah.
But with a bow, there's a couple of things I want to get out of the way. Learn to shoot your bow. There's no excuse. You know what I'm saying? If you don't be that guy that pulls your bow out and goes and shoots a pie plate, right? Like I shot 3 arrows in a pie plate. I'm ready to go hunting now. If you're going to do that, just buy a crossbow. Right? So none of the tips that we're about.
But you didn't say don't go bow hunting. You just said buy a crossbow.
Buy a crossbow. I'm not a crossbow person, but buy you a crossbow.
You want to hear something crazy?
What's that?
I've never shot a crossbow one time in my life.
I've shot crossbows, sighting them in for people. I've never hunted with a crossbow.
I never even shot one. I wouldn't even know how to do it.
You sight it in like a rifle. That's it.
Yeah.
So I mean that's it. But I'm not. And I get it. I mean, if you've got bad shoulders, if there's reasons for crossbows, and if you're not going to take the time to learn to shoot your bow, I would rather you shoot a crossbow and ethically kill animals than wound animals. So, and I'm not going to lie. I'll go ahead and throw this out here. I've killed almost 200 animals. I'm not the best shot with a bow, right? I can't even see the 12 spots anymore, but I'm brutally consistent. And my first 2 years, I lost 9 animals. I shot 9 animals and I lost all 9 animals my first 2 years.
Oh my God, you would think dumb luck would have.
It's freaking terrible, dude.
You would have gotten one awful.
Of them. No, hell no. I didn't get any of them, dude. It was like through the woods in the middle of the night. It was terrible. And I went to Keith Williamson's house and like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I can shoot great over here. And he let me shoot a couple of things. And then he asked me to go unload a trailer, and which seemed weird. And we helped him unload the trailer and came back, and I shot again, and he stopped me. And my first shot was off about 5 inches. And then I would get locked in and I'd go to hammering a golf ball. And the number one tip that I can give people is you have to master what I call your cold release point or your cold anchor point. I don't care about you shooting 10 shots in a row inside of a 12 spot. I care about tomorrow morning, once you haven't shot your bow for 12 hours, I care about you being able to pick that bow up out of the case and go and take the first shot and put it on target. Because deer don't let you shoot at them 2 or 3 times to get your anchor point right. And then, all right, that's the shot that counts. and you think, okay, well, I'm only off 5 inches, right? I
Hmm.
probably should get a tape measure for some of the, like, let me look right here. I don't have one, but yeah,
Five
you're only
inches
five
is
inches,
that's the
5 inches.
difference. 3 inches was the difference in me killing the biggest elk I've ever hunted versus what ended up happening was I hit right above the lungs.
Well,
I've told this story before. I shot him for 40 yards. Where he turned when we found the first drop of blood, he was 34 yards away, and that
mhm,
was about a 3 inch difference there.
right.
And that's all it took. You went from
Oh,
double lunging to no man's land. Boom, lost elk.
so elk will turn, they'll do whatever, but elk don't drop the way deer do. And
Mm-mm.
a lot of the tips are for whitetails that I'm giving. And if you're off 3 inches or 5 inches in the yard, I tell people they need to be inside of a 4 inch group, whether you're at 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards. If you can make your first shot, not 2 inches
That's like
off
the
one way or the
size of a
other, that's good.
baseball or something.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not.
right. Like
It's
if you
not
can
bad.
consistently do that, you're fine. But if you're off 5 inches in the yard, you have no adrenaline. You're shooting a target. Like what happens when you're shooting at a buck and you got a little bit of adrenaline? Your
Hmm.
5 inches may go to 7 inches. And I just mentioned, oh, by the way, when you shoot and he hears you, he's going to move,
Right.
right? He might duck, dip, twirl, whatever he's going to do. Now you're 5 inches. We were shaking a little and he's moved. You might be off 10 inches.
Hmm.
And you were off 3 inches and lost the biggest elk of your life. And 10 inches, you have no idea which way he's going to turn. But I see so many people that go to and start shooting, and their first one or two shots are off, and then they just go hammering, hammering, hammering. But if you will master your cold release point and be able to take that to the exact spot every single time, it will make you a much, much better bow hunter. It will cut the number of animals that you lose in half because you're going to be off just a little bit. But
Hmm.
you got a lot of other stuff out there from him moving to adrenaline to whatever it may be. And if no one listens to the rest of this show, if you'll just master your cold release point, it will significantly reduce the number of animals that you lose. And speaking from experience, I lost 9. Once Keith taught me that, I went 11 years before I lost another animal, and I
Oh
lost
wow.
a 8. I lost an 8 point into the river. I was hunting about 60 yards from the river, and he got in the river, and I lost him there. I lost a deer when it was raining. I've hit a twig, close to 200 animals now, and since my first year, I've only lost 5 animals out of
Oh
200, roughly 200 animals. So
yeah.
that cold release point is the number one tip. And the rest of the tips, there's no particular order that I'll give those, but cold
Well, these
release point is the
whitetail
biggest
deer
thing.
are gonna drop. I mean, that's just what they're gonna
Absolutely.
do. I
Yeah.
remember the first doe I ever shot. I actually shot low, probably 5 inches low,
Yeah.
and she just I have it on camera. She just dropped right into it, went just
Yeah.
right
Fell
through her
into a
heart.
perfect spot. Yeah.
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 Now you want to see something that's even faster than a whitetail deer? I was hunting a Kalahari springbuck out of a pop-up blind, and it's on film. I mean, I made what I thought was a perfect shot. The arrow went like 3 inches over its back by the time it dropped. So and
How far
faster,
away was he? How far away was he?
like 35 yards.
Yeah.
Not well,
Not
far
far.
far for I guess that animal.
Right.
But we all thought, and my PH, he doesn't do a lot of archery stuff, and he was like, I can't believe that just happened. We went back and looked at the film. We're like, the arrow wasn't even close to hitting it, much less hitting it in the vitals.
Right.
So the next day we went back and smoked one, and I aimed about 6 inches low.
Low and dropped into it. Yeah. Yeah. So I will definitely, we don't have that in the tips, but picking that bottom third, and the further the animal is away, the further he's going to get the drop. And I practice at ranges that I would never shoot a whitetail at. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the tips I encourage people. I don't plan on shooting a whitetail at 60 or 70 yards. But if you get into the yard and then you work up practicing to where you can shoot at 60 and 70 yards, it makes that 20-yard shot, 30-yard shot so much easier. And I compare it to playing on a full-size 8-foot pool table, and then all of a sudden you go and play on a bar room table, right? That
Mm-hmm.
bar room table is so much easier compared to playing on a regulation size table.
Right.
And I encourage everyone to practice from distances that you would not necessarily shoot a deer at. That's a great tip that
What
is super
distance
easy
would
to
you
do.
shoot a whitetail at?
I have shot a whitetail in a soybean field, a doe with her head down at 78 yards before to see if I could do it. I would not do that on the regular. It was like, can I, while she's got her head in the beans, can I do it? I shot a 8-point in the land between the lakes at 67 yards, and I didn't stop him. He was walking, and I actually aimed in front of him because I knew if I stopped him and whistled where he could hear, like by the time he ducked and moved, there was no telling.
Yeah.
But the majority of the time in my scouting, I want that deer, and again, scouting's got a big portion of it, but I want that deer 30 yards away from me, 20,
Right.
30, no more than 40.
Right. I wouldn't
when you're
shoot
scouting,
past 40 personally.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're scouting properly, you should be in the 30-yard range.
Okay. What else do you have for us?
That's two good ones to begin with.
Yeah.
But
how's your
I would
eyesight?
tell you, my eyesight is decent. I wear reading glasses now. I didn't used to, and I don't strain to see the little 12 spot. But off in the distance, I still see okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's not.
I've
not
noticed the last 2 years, my just looking through the peep has gotten harder. I adjusted the color of the peep, and that helped a little bit.
Right.
But it's like, well, you know, I'm getting older. That's
low light gets to be a problem. So, my next tip for everyone, I want to tell you, for the love of sweet baby Jesus, stop guessing at distances and put the rangefinder down. That may sound stupid, but everybody's got a story of, oh man, I misjudged the distance and I shot right under him, or I misjudged the distance and I shot right over him. People that hunt whitetails, the vast majority of the time, you're hunting out of a stand that you've hunted out of before, right? It's not like you're walking to a brand new stand.
You should know the trees as your markers.
Correct. So I even go a step further than that. When I set the stand up, I look at the different directions that I can shoot. And at 20 yards, there may be 2 pine cones here. At 30 yards, it might be 3 or 3 sticks or whatever. But I mark the distances on the ground from the stand when I set the stand up. Now, yes, you can have a rangefinder with you if something comes up that's strange, but when that deer's coming in, you don't need to be doing extra movement with a rangefinder. You don't see the doe that's behind you. You know, you need to be focused on that deer that you're going to shoot. And if that deer that's coming in, you got to get him behind something so you can pick the rangefinder up. Well, you put it down. Well, what if he's following a doe and he doesn't stop? You know, that could have been the time that you draw your bow back. So you've got the distances marked on the ground. If he's halfway between 20 yards and 3 sticks at 30 yards, put the pin on 25 yards and shoot him. It doesn't matter if it's 24 or 26. If you miss, like today's bows are so fast that that's not going to make that much of a difference. But do not guess at your distances, period. There's no reason for it. When you're setting your stand up, go ahead and mark it. And I encourage, this doesn't work when you're stalking or whatever, but if you're still hunting whitetail, you don't need the rangefinder. You should already have everything set up so you've got an idea. And when that deer's coming, you concentrate on shooting that deer, not ranging him.
Yeah, I agree. And I've missed with my bow a 140 one time. I think that's the only buck that I've ever shot at with a bow that I missed. And that was because I had got one of those pop-ups with the shoot-through mesh.
Right.
I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
Yeah, me neither.
It definitely affected that arrow. But do what you want with it. That was 10 years ago. Maybe the material is better now, but it definitely put some drag on that arrow. But I have missed an elk that I didn't range, you know, and that was, I didn't know the distance, and I said,
right.
I'm thinking he's 40. No, I thought he was 50. He was downhill from me. I shot him for 50. He was closer to 40 yards away. That arrow just went right over his back. Not like he ducked, you know. It's just like you said, elk aren't going to duck. Not like a whitetail.
Yeah, not like a whitetail.
But again, Joe, did I want to pick the rangefinder up? Like he knew we were there. He'd seen us. He was trying to figure out what we were. But it's like, do I have time to range him?
Right.
No, so I didn't. And I wish I would have.
Elk hunting, or you're stalking a mule deer or something like that, is totally different. You're going to have to make the call. But when you're whitetail hunting out of a stand that you've hunted out of before, and if there's any guides listening to us, dude, if you know you're going to put clients in a stand that they've never been to before, put the pine cones or the sticks on the ground and tell them, like, go ahead and set them up for success. But whitetail hunting, still hunting, there's no excuse to guess about distances. Zero excuse.
Yeah. Still hunting though. What do you mean? Like still hunting's walking through the woods.
No, in Georgia, still hunting is referred to as being in a tree, being still in a stand, in a deer stand. If you are in a deer stand still hunting, you're sitting in one spot.
Oh, dude, I've read articles and interviewed guys who call still hunting basically you take 2 steps and you don't move. And you're on the ground, you're walking and you're basically trying to run into game and you're just doing it as still as possible. Okay, that's interesting.
A slow stalk. And we do that during the rut when it's a lot of dew in the morning or it's rained. You'll rattle and quietly move through the swamp, get the river at your back and the wind in your face, and it's freaking awesome.
That is very hard with a bow for whitetail deer.
Yeah, extremely hard. Yeah.
With a gun, that's when I've done it.
Very easy.
Yeah, it's very fine. Easy. With still hunting, the type I'm talking about, with the bow, forget about it. With the whitetail, anyway. Okay.
Bow hunting, if you're not wearing rubber boots, just go ahead and stay home. If you're not dominating your scent with a bow, like, I'm not saying you're not going to kill an animal, but ozonics, there's a Kill Drift, the company in Alabama. You put a little insert in a thermocell. There's tons of things. Wash your clothes. One of the biggest tips that I give people, American Indians did it. Fred Bear did it. Jeff Barron does it. I've done it pretty much my whole life. Smoke. Smoke is an amazing cover scent that you put your clothes on. Girls, the stuff that girls put in their hair, from conditioner to shampoos, it's almost impossible to get that smell out of their hair. Mm-hmm. If you take your wife hunting, your daughter's hunting, but using smoke to help hide your scent is a great tip for people. But if you're going to bow hunt, you're going to learn the wind. You're going to learn to dominate your scent.
Go buy a pack of Marlboro Reds before you get in the tree stand.
Don't laugh. I know a lot of people who have killed deer while smoking a Marlboro, but I don't suggest that one. So I would go with like pine needles or some type of leaves for my smoke, not necessarily Marlboro Reds.
Well, so what about? I mean, I don't smoke cigarettes. I like cigars, but what I like to do is sit around the campfire and smoke a cigar. So then I'm really smoky. Don't even need to worry about it, though.
Yeah.
It's a scent that deer smell naturally.
All the time. Yeah. I don't know about the cigar, but they do not spook. They don't spook with the smoke smell. And, with rubber boots and smoke, and, when that deer gets up from bedding, if it's the rut, he'll do some stupid stuff. But his number one defense is his nose. And a mature buck is not going to walk with the wind. He is going to walk with his nose into the wind so he can smell what's in front of him. Mm-hmm. That's just what he's going to do. And you've got to be off to the side just a little bit, to keep your scent from going straight to him and wind swirls or whatever. But you're going to learn to hunt the wind, and you're going to learn to dominate your scent if you're going to be successful bow hunting year after year.
What about sneaking in? You're walking into your tree stand. Do you put scent, like some kind of cover scent, on your rubber boots?
Normally, I do not put a cover scent on my rubber boots. I'll get in the mud, the water, the whatever. I did have a deer that spooked one time because I had a new pair of rubber boots on, and you could actually smell me sitting in a tree. You could smell the rubber boots. And he stopped behind a cedar tree for about 3 minutes, and the wind shifted, and he smelled them, and off he went. That was the only deer that smelled me, and I took those boots and I got in the nastiest mud pig wallow that there was and just coated them in mud and tried to get that new rubber boot smell off of them.
So I mean, I've said many times on the show, I'm not a diehard bow hunter. I enjoy it. I've killed quite a few animals with a bow. I've lost some, missed some. But if the wind isn't right, I just don't go. And I don't worry as much about what I smell. When I first started bow hunting, I was religious about all that stuff. Like, I'm washing my clothes in, scent-free detergent, doing all this crap, taking them to and from the field in a sealed container. I don't do any of that anymore. I just play the wind, and if it's not right, I'm not going to go.
You're not going to go. Yeah. Right.
So I don't know. Maybe that's dumb, but I don't do any of that stuff.
If you've got a big buck, I would suggest that. If the wind is not right, I would not go. I had a big buck 2 years ago I was trying to kill, super smart. And it turns out he had been shot. The hunting club next door had shot him with a muzzleloader because he just disappeared off a camera. And I knew where they were at. I knew how the wind was blowing. It was getting late, and I smoked myself up. I got 30 feet up in the tree, but the wind was blowing straight to where they were at, slight angle. But I saw 12 bucks that day, and not the first one of them. They didn't spook. They didn't do anything, and the big 9 point was the last one that I killed. But I had the kill drift. I had the kill drift going. I had the smoke on the clothes. Everything had been washed. But yeah, I am religious about controlling my scent when I'm hunting.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, right on.
do not silhouette yourself. Don't be that guy that silhouettes yourself, that gets on the side of the lone pine tree. You're out there, you're just asking for that doe to stare up at you and blow, right? When you're setting up the stand, if you don't have any trees around, get some ratchet straps, tie some limbs to it, like put something around it. Ideally you want to I personally like to get my stand in the background with additional cover in front of me in the foreground. I like to be able to look through the cover in front of me at the deer and then rise up above it to shoot or have a hole through it that I shoot. But a lot of people, especially if you're in a ladder stand, a 15-foot ladder stand, you're just literally putting yourself right there at the perfect level for that deer's eyes. And if you don't put cover in front of you and you're sticking out like a sore thumb, maybe you get away with it with a rifle. That's not a whole lot of movement, but there's a lot of movement between getting in position and drawing a bow back and shooting. And you cannot silhouette yourself on the side of the tree, period.
I had one stand. I was hunting this 175 on 20 acres about 5 years ago, and I only had two stands on it. Well, I had a pop up, and then I had one ladder stand for each wind. And I promise you, I didn't have it in front of me, but I had stuff breaking up. But I would have been skylined, in the back. It was just all sparse, and then the leaves started to fall. Well, I'm like, well, look at all these green cedars right here, and I looked like a duck blind up there by the time I was done with it.
That's fine.
Yeah, and that was for so that wouldn't be skyline, but I put most of them behind me, to the sides of me. Yeah,
absolutely. And the little don't take these into a duck blind, because the people that brush the blind will be furious. But you can go to Walmart, to the garden center, and they have these little rose pruning scissors things, whatever. I mean, they're super easy to use. They're like 12 bucks, but they're great to quietly cut, branches or whatever. I carry them with me when I'm turkey hunting. I carry them with me when I'm deer hunting. But a little pruning shears, they just slide in there, and then I cut whatever I need, especially when I'm using a climber, right? And I'm not sure what kind of cover I'm going to have around the climber.
How high do you want to be?
If you get too high, in some of the places you lose visibility, but I will get as high as I can without losing visibility.
So
typically
15-foot ladder stand or higher?
Yeah, if I'm in a climber, I'm probably going to be 20 feet plus most of the time. Most of the time, I'm going to be 20 feet plus, and there's many times that I'm 30 feet up. So the higher you get, the further out of their line of sight, the better your scent's dispersed. But there's some drawbacks to it. You can lose visibility. It can also change the angles that you're shooting at deer, and you've got to understand. If you don't understand deer anatomy, that takes us like into the next tip, right? Take the time to understand deer anatomy. A slight turn of that deer quartering one way or the other is the difference between one lung and two lungs. And a frontal shot on an elk, I'll take a frontal shot on a deer in a heartbeat. And I'm sure some of your listeners are fixing to bash me, but my favorite shot with a bow is with the deer 10 or 15 yards from the stand, facing directly away from me, or at a slight angle where his head's away from me. He can't see me pull back. You draw back, you shoot him right at the back of the rib cage. It comes out as brisket. He will not run 30, 40 yards. It's a heart shot. It kills the fool out of him. It's literally one of my favorite shots to take. And but understand deer anatomy and what your arrow is going to do when that deer moves one way or the other. Take the time to figure it out. Like it's important.
And you will shoot a whitetail in the chest, you said?
I have shot multiple whitetails in the chest before. Yes.
I haven't done it on a whitetail. I've done it on an elk, and it was the most devastating wound. I mean, he ran, and there was no doubt in my mind. I was like, oh, he's dead. Like, there was so much blood coming out. And granted, he was only like 17 or 18 yards from me when I shot him. But it was so cool and so effective.
Very effective. My first elk was in Craig, Colorado. He was at 13 steps. It was a frontal shot. He quartered just a little bit. I shot him right in front of his shoulder blade. It came across. He spun around. The guide called to him and he stopped. And it looked like a water spigot of blood pouring out of him. He fell 33 yards from where I was at. I was in leaf camouflage on my knees in the middle of a trail, these like terrible bushes. And he literally came like from the one spot I didn't think he would come. I was thinking it'd be in the Quakies, kind of in the little bottom, but he was about to run over me on the trail. But he fell 33 steps from where I was at, and that was a frontal shot. And it is hands down one of my favorite shots on elk.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Devastating.
Let's see what we got here. Make practice as real as possible. You know, deer don't like to walk out in the broad open. Like, you know, my deer don't. They like bushes. You know, if at all possible, move your target where you're shooting between a few trees. If you got multiple targets, position them around. But if you have the opportunity in the woods to shoot between a 12-inch gap in the trees and the deer's perfectly broadside, dear Lord, take the shot. Like, go ahead and make the shot. If you can't control your arrow 6 inches one way or the other, I hope it hits the tree so we don't wound the deer and he doesn't run off.
Yeah.
But, you know, I compare, if you think about golfers that go out on a par 3 and they just kill the par 3s, and then all of a sudden it's a par 3 that's got some water in front of it and they lose it. And they're, you know, they slice it, they do whatever, they hit it like terrible. I'm telling you to practice for those conditions so that if you're shooting between trees or you're shooting between bushes or whatever it is, that you've done it, that you're confident with your arrows, you know how your arrow is going to fly. So, and if you're going to be sitting in the stand,
go shoot a 3D range. That's the best place.
Go shoot a 3D range. That's absolutely great.
Yeah.
Not everybody has a 3D range, but you can simulate part of that at home, depending on what you have. But
Cinnamon
if you're
Creek
going to
here locally has it's like a golf course, but it's, you know,
super nice
for archers. And oh yeah, absolutely love it. And you are going to be shooting through trees, and you're probably going to lose an arrow or two, but it's worth it.
That's fine. That's fine. But you will get that real world hunting scenario there. And if you're sitting in the stand, if you're going to be sitting in the stand where you turn and take your shot, practice sitting on a bucket or something. Like, you know, practice the same way that you would be when you're in the woods. I also encourage people, do not practice to the point of fatigue. It's rare that I shoot more than 10 arrows. I may shoot one arrow in the morning and one at lunch. And
see, this is good advice, because I have had situations where I get tired and I keep shooting because I'm pissed off. I'm like, why is this not working? Or what adjustment do I need to make here? And so you just keep shooting, but now your back and your shoulders tired, and all it is frustration.
You pick up bad habits. You'll never adjust your bow that shot fine before, and now you've gotten a little tired and it's not shooting right, and you want to don't adjust it, put the bow down and come back to it later. And again, I won't shoot more than 10 shots most of the time. And if you want to strengthen your arm, do some bend over dumbbell pull-ups, whatever it is, or shoot it, but don't use your bow as your sole means of strengthening your arm and go out there and shoot 50, 100 shots in the afternoon, because you go to picking up a bad habit, let that string pop your arm one time, and the next thing you know, you're flinching about every other time you shoot. And normally that stuff happens once you get tired. So don't shoot your bow to the point of fatigue.
It also is a bad habit forming when your scope on your 308 comes back and clocks you right in the face.
100%.
I promise you, when
100%.
I think it was I had gotten this new rifle, and I don't even know what happened. It had never happened before, but I know the next time I went to pull the trigger, I was like, "Yikes! I'm afraid this is gonna smash me."
Yeah.
I tried to shoot it. Here's a funny story for you. I tried to shoot a turkey laying prone with a shotgun one time.
Not good.
That gave me a migraine. I don't know what a migraine feels like. I've never had one, but that's the worst headache I've ever had. Ever.
Yeah. I get it. Richard Marsh. I was shooting a Browning gold medallion, whatever, 300 short magnum.
Uh-huh.
Right, the damn thing maybe weighed 4 pounds. It was beautiful walnut stock or whatever, and oh my god, it was kicking like crazy. And I'd shot it like 6 times, and Richard's like, "Let me shoot it. I'll shoot it, you know." And he gets up there and he shoots it, and he turns around. He's like, "Yeah, that wasn't that bad." And I'm like, "Really?" Like, "No, it wasn't as bad as I was expecting." I'm like, "Okay." And all of a sudden, he like reaches up at his nose or whatever. This dude's got a half moon right there. He is just gushing. It's pouring
Oh,
down his nose. Yeah, yeah. He
wow.
flinched for like 2 years after that. Like, I mean, you load the gun for him, and there's no bullet in it, and he pulled a trigger. You can watch him flinch.
Yeah.
But like, it literally taught him to flinch.
Well, and
So,
that's important too with a totally unrelated topic of rifles, but if you're getting your kids into shooting, you want number one a light caliber, and I would say if you're not getting a suppressor, don't even bother. Like
right.
it's worth the investment for your children. And I'm not even talking about their hearing. You know, I'm half deaf from shooting rifles. I wish I would have not and shotguns, but I wish I would have taken better care of my hearing. My kids are not allowed. Henry doesn't go duck hunting or dove hunting without ear pro on. But having a suppressor on there, it's worth its weight in gold because you can move them up probably 2 calibers from where like if you're starting them on a 22 250. Well, now you can go to a 243. Well, you can skip the 22 250. You're not going to teach
Right.
them bad habits. Have you shot a Cape buffalo?
I have not. I have
But you've been
not
to
shot one.
Africa.
I have.
Yeah. That will
Yeah.
wear your ass out too. 350 grain bullet
Oh yeah.
out of
Yeah.
375 Ruger. Went to the range to sight it in. Man, my shoulder was sore after that.
Well, you touched on something that was really important, and when you talk about new shooters, whether it's pistol shooting, women, kids, or whatever, there's two things that people are afraid of. They're afraid of the noise, and they're afraid of the recoil. Take those two things away out of the picture. Like, just
Mm-hmm.
take them away. And when they're not hearing the noise, they're not experiencing the recoil. Teach them with a 22. Teach them with a smaller caliber before you ever move them up. And I see that all the time when I teach people to shoot. And I have two new hunters on opening day. Neither one of them's ever killed a deer before. I'm so excited. They're coming. But I'll take them on Friday and we'll shoot a 17 HMR, a Savage, with a
Mm-hmm.
synthetic stock and an AccuTrigger. You can't mess it up. Like, you literally can't mess it up. But I'll teach them to shoot the gun with that 17 HMR. And then when they go to hunting on opening day, they'll have a 7mm 08 that looks and feels exactly like the gun that they shot the day before. But they get out there with that 17 and they shoot and they don't have the recoil, they don't have the problem, they're not scared of it, they're not flinching.
Yeah.
And then you give them just a little bit bigger caliber the next day and they shoot one time at a deer.
It's a lot
They
bigger
don't
caliber.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah.
a lot big, but that gun doesn't really kick, right? There's not a lot of kick associated with a 7mm 08.
Yeah.
And they don't even notice the difference because of the adrenaline of them actually shooting at a deer. But put them out there shooting
Right.
10 shots the day before with the regular 7mm 08, like, you're going to teach them to flinch.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I try to avoid teaching people to flinch.
100%. Yeah, my daughter's shot actually Silencer Central has a suppressor I put on my 17 HMR. So it went from a pop gun to basically a pellet gun.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and
It's great.
they went
It's
from
awesome.
kind of being like, oh, do we really have to shoot another shot? To
Uh,
oh, Dad, yeah, can we? They
yeah.
call
Yeah.
it
Can we shoot some more?
So yeah, take us through your checklist then.
So for me, I go through a checklist, and the arrow goes in. The very first thing that I do is I look at I have one pin on my bow. I look at the distance. That's the first thing. The second thing I do is I clip in my release to the loop, and this is superstition or whatever, but I spin my peep sight just like perfect every time. I
Mm-hmm.
get my hand right where my left hand right. When I pull the bow back, I have 2 points of contact back here, and then my nose goes across. I get the sight in. When I shoot, I watch the arrow all the way to the target, and I count to 3 before I bring my arm down. Now, I know I'm not going to do that in the woods, but everybody has a tendency to like shoot, and you want to see where that deer goes, and the muscle memory stays behind. But it doesn't matter if I'm shooting in the yard or I'm shooting at a 10 point. That is the exact steps that I take every time I shoot. And again, that goes back to I don't shoot 50 and 100 shots. You know, I shoot 10 shots the same way that I would if I was in the woods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that
And
makes sense.
that's
Well,
my
and
procedure.
repetition is key, whether you're shooting a free throw or, you know, pulling back a bow, it all
Um,
needs to be the same sequence, whatever it
right.
is, and
Every
anything
time.
in life. Like
In
if you want to be
anything.
good at it, it's
Anything.
got to be
Yeah.
consistent. It's got to be the same every time.
So the last thing I will tell everybody is get your wives, girlfriends, kids, get them a bow, get them into archery.
Oh, that would be a waste of
Watch,
money here.
it may be, it may be, but you'll be surprised if you take somebody out there. You know, when you take a first time shooter out and they shoot and all of a sudden it's not scary and they start to learn or whatever. If you can take them out and let them experience it, and that's a very use somebody else's bow, get a bow or whatever. But if you can get them into bow hunting and they ever start shooting and enjoy it, it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. I don't gun hunt very much anymore. I mean, I've already killed 70 deer this year. You know, I'm in the middle of farmland. We have to shoot permits all the time. I do not enjoy shooting deer with a gun. He can be a 200-inch deer and my heart rate does not get up. But, you know, a hat rack 8-point and some does around me, I can be in a trembling fit with a bow, right? I enjoy that.
Yeah.
But the bow hunting for me, I'm just not as mad at the deer as I used to be. I used to be really mad at them. And if I'm going to go and do it, I'm going to have a bow with me, or I'm going to be taking a first timer. I still enjoy taking the first timers, like newcomers. But you know, I'll take taking a kid to kill their first deer over the biggest deer that I have on the wall. Like that's super enjoyable.
Yeah.
You know, hands down.
I've noticed that with my kids, I get much more enjoyment watching them have success. That being said, if the 170 I'm hunting this season, hopefully, fingers crossed, even, you know, 150, 160 would be nice too. But if that deer walks out, I'm taking the rifle from my son. I mean, like, you have not.
You haven't earned that yet.
You just went to Africa, Henry. You think a lot of 12-year-olds get to go to Africa? No, you give me the gun. I'm shooting that sucker.
You're gonna snatch the gun.
Yeah. Well, because I don't want to. He's killed 4 or 5 bucks,
right.
but you know, all 8 points. And
right.
I'm like, no, I'm not going to let you. When you go hunt by yourself and Dad is no longer sitting with you, that's when you can earn your big buck. But I mean,
and I get that.
I'm not going to let him do it. Then he's going to be spoiled. Like, then what does he have to look forward to? I think you have to lead them in the right direction, foster them, show them how to do it, have success in the field with them. But like, if you want to shoot a big buck, buddy, do you really want it, or is Dad just giving it to you?
Right.
And I'm not going to get. I took him to Africa, once in a lifetime experience for him, but I'm not going to let him just be like, oh, whitetail deer hunting is easy, because it's not.
No,
for a big buck anyway.
You know, I was 9 when I killed my first deer. I shot this doe, shot at it 5 times with a 30-06 semi-automatic. It's like what 7,600 Woodsmaster or what? Everybody must have been hiding behind the trees. But it was still a couple more years before I killed a buck. But I have taken first timers before, where we get in the box blind, and 2 minutes after we're in the blind, here comes 5 deer and bucks. I don't even let them shoot. Like, yeah, we're just going to watch this, because you take them out there and they're in the stand for 5 minutes and they shoot and kill a deer. They don't think there's anything to it. And I've literally made people wait till the second or third day before I let them shoot their first deer, because I didn't want them to think, you know, oh, you just go out there and shoot one, there's nothing to it. Right. And that's still too easy for them, you know, compared to a kid growing up that's experiencing killing their first deer. And I encourage everybody, don't let your kid kill a buck to start with. Make them kill a doe. And then let them kill, and then start with a doe, then let them shoot a little buck, then let them kill a big buck, because you'll see the joy there all over. But these kids that go out and kill freaking 12 points, their first, you know, they got cheated. They got cheated of 2 experiences, you know.
No, he's still on the management plan. So on my children's lease, we can only shoot 1 buck.
Right.
Well, that's Dad's buck. I'm not paying for the lease for you. I'm paying for me. And it's work too, you know. I mean, I could do this for a living. But then I have another lease, and it's like, well, I don't know. These leases are both new to me, so we'll see what happens. But that's a 2-buck county, and if there's a nice trophy 8-point, I let him shoot it, because he's basically shot calls respectable
Right.
bucks, but not something that's going to trip you or ice trigger.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, he's got to be really big for me to shoot a gun, even if I have a gun with me. During the rut, you might see a deer that you've never seen before in your life that you're never going to see again on my
mhm.
place. So when the rut's hot and heavy, I normally will have a rifle with me just because they don't hold still. They're running around. You might whistle
Oh
at them.
yeah.
They might stop. They might not stop. But other than that, all right, we're going to make sausage on Saturday. Like, so let's go shoot 5 deer on one day. You will not catch Jason hunting with a rifle unless I've got it as the backup because they're running around acting stupid during the rut.
Mhm. Mhm. No, I get it. I still enjoy gun hunting, but the trophies I'm most proud of were all taken with a bow.
Yeah.
If I put
It's just hard, man.
if I could put it one way, and yes, and the reason why is because it is so much harder, and
Right.
usually it requires a lot more hours invested to make it
Right.
happen. You don't get as lucky as often with a bow.
And I'm probably fixing to really, really step on some people's toes
Do
here.
it.
I mean, this would like
Launch
all
that grenade.
yeah. So I'm about to throw this grenade out here, and Tyler Jordan, I think y'all's company is awesome. It's one of the OGs. It's a Georgia company. I think it's great. I think Tyler is great, other than his weird obsession with Oxford, Mississippi, and Ole Miss. I don't quite understand that. That's a little weird. But when you have somebody like Tyler that's going to go to 8, 10, 12 states this year, and he's going from one outfitter to the next that's got 50 trail cameras, and they watch these deer for 5 years or 6 years or whatever, and he kills some great deer, and I'm all for that. Like, mad respect for you killing some great deer, right? Or like Jeff Barron's one of the best hunters I know. He's a great bow hunter. Hannah's awesome. Hannah is a very good hunter. But when Hannah goes hunting, these outfitters want her to kill a monster deer because it's good advertising for them,
Right.
right? But the normal person that hunts on grandma's 100 acres or that's hunting on the hunting club, they don't get the opportunity that a Tyler Jordan does or that a Hannah Barron does.
Look at
And
this
that
buck.
guy,
Look at this
what's
buck right
that?
here. Look at that buck
Oh,
right there.
nice.
So that is a 220 something inch buck. Same deal. Guy invited
Yeah,
me to his ranch, and that was a high fence. He was like, "You're gonna kill the biggest
yeah,
buck on the property," and I
right,
did. And it's a cool mount, and it's a
right,
great conversation piece. And Clayton's
correct,
ranch called Stillwater's Ranch, beautiful place, family place.
right,
Trophy doesn't mean that much to me.
right. But but that person that's at
I
home,
didn't feel like. I mean, I shot it in 2 days.
correct,
I didn't invest
correct,
the blood, sweat, and
correct.
tears and have that equity built up into the thing.
If you're at home in Georgia and you're hunting that hunting club or grandma's land, and your deer has survived cousin Brian that says you can't eat the antlers, it's
Mm-hmm.
brown, it's down. It survives the Florida hunting club next door, Laura Longnecker. She's if it's brown, it's down kind of person too. It makes it past the cars. It doesn't get hit by the cars or crippled up. But if you can go and harvest a 4.5-year-old buck with your bow, or a 5.5-year-old buck, you've actually done something. And it might only
Mm-hmm.
be a 130, 135-inch deer.
Hell
It
of a
might be
trophy.
120. It's a freaking awesome trophy. And again, no disrespect to Tyler or people that get to hunt 60, 70 days a
Do
year.
you think
Uh,
Cam Haines is still grinding on public land on his elk hunts?
I do not.
Well, I know he's not.
Right,
And
right,
now is
right.
Cam Haines like a super athlete and does all of these
He's a freak. He's a freak of that.
200-mile runs, all that crap? I respect him for
Right.
that, but like
Yeah.
there was a time when Cam wrote like I think he was it Peterson's,
Right.
and he was like a legit backcountry hunter.
Right.
He doesn't do that
Right.
anymore.
He
He
doesn't.
gets
He doesn't do
invited,
that
he
anymore.
shows up and
He gets
shoots the elk.
invited. He shows up and he shoots the big deer. And hey, I'm all for that. But
Sure.
the average hunter doesn't get to do that. And I'm telling you right now that guy that works and grinds on his place that's able to harvest a 4.5-year-old deer, hey, dude, that's a freaking trophy. You do it with a bow, hell yeah. I'm more proud of that than people that get tons and tons of opportunities. And I'm not bashing on the people that get the great opportunities. I get a lot of opportunities that normal people don't get. But if you're hunting at home and you figure out the wind and you figure out how to shoot your bow and you go out there and harvest that animal, be proud, dude. You've actually done something, because bow hunting is not easy. It is not easy.
No, it's it'll bring you to tears for sure.
Yeah,
Drive you crazy.
100% will.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, but then you just get right back up in the tree and like, oh, we're gonna do this again.
You, You
for
know,
that
that's
one
the thing.
moment, that one shot.
You know, that's the thing that really bothers me about this Roosevelt elk hunting. I started watching these YouTube videos. You can't even see these damn things at like 8 yards, right? So many of
No,
these videos, these Roosevelts are in the woods. Like your chances
it's a
of killing,
different woods though.
yeah, yeah, I know
You're
it's
hunting
totally
these
different.
big giant ferns and
Yes,
more of like a
yes,
rainforest
dude.
atmosphere.
Your chances of shooting one at 5 yards is better than your chances at shooting one at 30 yards because you can't see him at 30
Yeah.
yards.
Oh yeah.
And I've just watched so many of these videos of people with elk right on top of them and no shot whatsoever, or you're going to have to be able to shoot through a 6 inch hole. And that's what I've been practicing for most of the summer is to be able to shoot through that 6, 8 inch hole and know where my arrow is in flight because I don't care if he's at 50 yards. I don't care if he's at 40 yards. The first time I get a Roosevelt with an open shot that I can shoot him, I am shooting him. I'm not going to wait till he gets up there close to me because I
No.
see all these people that never get to kill him because you can't get the shot.
Yeah. Now the elk is totally different. I would never personally. I don't want to say never. Ethically, I don't think I would shoot a whitetail outside of 40ish yards. An elk, 60 yards.
All day
I do
long,
not care. I'm going to send
all
it.
day long. They're not going to spin. They're not going to drop. They're not going to do the stuff a
They're not
whitetail
even going to
does.
know that you shot
No,
or at
nope,
them. They're going to have
nope,
no clue.
100%.
Yeah. Just wired completely differently. Thankfully for me, because I've actually killed a couple of them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, that's it. I mean, we can go all day, but that's some very basic tips. One other thing, one last tip is I'll tell people if you're shooting out of a climber or you're shooting out of a stand, pull the bow back, like get up in there and imagine where the deer is going to be standing and look and make sure that limb is not going to hit the edge of your stand. If you've ever had
Right.
the bottom limb of your bow hit the edge of your stand or a limb in the tree, you know, that's a mistake that learn from somebody else. Don't make that mistake yourself. But you know, there's very simple tips that can help anybody. But mastering your cold anchor point, your cold release point is the number one thing that will help you stop losing animals.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of it's just a lot of practice, man. Just a lot of practice.
Yeah, 100%. A couple other things I recommend, and like you figure this out as you go, but you're gonna want if you've got a ladder stand, put a couple hooks in there, hang your bow, hang your backpack, you know, all that stuff, and then make sure you've got a rope to get your bow up and down. You don't want to be climbing up and down trying to. It's sketchy enough getting in and out of a tree. Make sure you've got a harness.
Right.
Especially now, most guys in a climber, I think most people are going to have a lineman's harness or lineman's rope or something. You're going to be attached to the tree. When I'm climbing up in the ladder stand, I'm not doing that. I'm getting up there and then I'm immediately hooking into the tree.
Right.
So that you don't need to have a bow in your hand to make it even more sketchy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't think most guys have a harness on when they're climbing up in the ladder stand. It'd be very difficult to do that.
Yeah.
Well, you have your harness on, but you're just not strapped in until you sit down. Those are just a couple basic things, but will make your experience a lot more enjoyable.
Fred Bear's 10 Commandments. If you aren't familiar with those as a bow hunter, you need to look those up. Like never step on anything you can step over, right? You know, look for movement. That's what the deer are looking for. But he is still today one of the greatest archers of all time. And if you
I don't know how he killed anything in flannel shirts.
The greatest camo there is sit down.
How we dress today.
Sit down
and I
be
love
quiet,
it.
right? Sit down and be quiet. You know, what was it? Sit down and be quiet. Remember your granddad hunted in red flannel shirt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but movement, you know, the deer are looking for movement. That's what catches their attention. And oftentimes it's a tail twicker or ear or something the first time you catch a little movement and you know there's a deer there, especially if it's been raining or it's moist and the leaves aren't crunchy. You know, it's that little bit of movement. But yeah, that's it, man. That's all the tips I got for today. And you know,
right
everybody has a great season.
Good luck on your rosy hunt. I'm jealous of that. That's super cool. And then the season will be firing off here. September 1st it should be a state holiday in Texas. My kids will not be in school. Actually, it might actually be a holiday this year. But
did you tell the school counselor? Did you tell the school counselor, like on the meeting day, that hey, my child will miss every absence that they can possibly miss?
No, I didn't tell them that, but they saw that I was wearing the Make Orwell Fiction shirt again. That's what I wore to
Right.
meet the teacher night, just in case there was any thought of
It,
you're going to
right.
indoctrinate my kids. I'm well. This is how I feel about it. But no,
Right.
my kids just tell them. Like they don't try to
Yeah.
hide it. They're like, so we won't be in school tomorrow, and then the
Yeah.
teacher's like, why? And then like, we're going dove hunting. So
Yeah.
it is what it
Yeah.
is.
My friend Kyle that owns 17 South Gun Club in Savannah, and he's got a place in Costa Rica. He told his teachers like they were trying to get him to sign his kid up for college classes his senior year and all this. And he's like, "Have you lost your mind? This is going to be the greatest year of his life, right? I'm not making him do all of that, and he's going to miss every day that he can possibly miss. It's a big world besides Richmond Hill. Like he is going to go and experience and do whatever. So don't count on him being here every day." I like died laughing when
Yeah.
Kyle told that. So
Yeah. I mean, perfect attendance or going
yeah.
hunting.
In
What's better?
Africa with your dad or dove hunting, yeah, all day
Yeah.
long.
My kids
I
have not
don't,
missed an opening day of dove season in their lives. They went when they were in strollers. I
you
mean,
know,
they just go, and now it's family tradition.
yep.
So, well, right on, man. What's your Instagram?
Yeti Man 10. We're still going with the dog Instagram. I haven't done a new one yet since Meta deleted the other ones, and I'm probably going to put some of the bow tips up on them sessions page as well. Send it there. Check those guys out. Like honestly, I was blown away with their bow, and I am
Hmm.
a Matthews guy if that tells you anything. But it's significantly less expensive than Matthews. Now Matthews has earned that branding thing that they charge what they do. I mean, just like Hoyt and some of the other companies have, but American made, veteran owned, and a great bow. And it's less expensive than a lot of the name brand bows that are out there today and shoots amazing.
Right on. Well, Jason, thanks again, man. Always great to catch up.
Great seeing you, Cable. Thank you.